You're watching this week's edition of the Fanvestor Report with your host, Jezlan Moyet.
Welcome to the Fanvestor Report. I'm your host, Jezlan Moyet, and today we're talking from athlete to entrepreneur. We've got two incredible interviews, one with world-renowned scholar, entrepreneur, and model, who's a little bit of magic. Author of The Influence Code, Amanda Russell, will be with us today, and the president of the Packers fan club, Alex Marino. That's right, he hosts one of the most renowned Instagram accounts, all things Packers, Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to get his take on Aaron, both on and off the field. But first, a little about Fanvestor. Fanvestor is an innovative digital crowdfunding platform. Think Star Engine meets e-entertainment, where fans can invest in their favorite celebrities, fashion icons, or athletes, and invest with heart and get one-of-a-kind exclusive experiences and perks. There are auctions and, of course, recently released NFTs. Both accredited and non-accredited investors can participate in these crowdfunding projects. And of course, as I mentioned, NFTs coming soon. But right now, you can actually be one of the first to invest in Fanvestor. In recent Fanvestor news, Amar'e Stoudemire has launched his product, Masa. Masa literally translates to journey in Hebrew, who, of course, well, Amar'e is a 6-time NBA All-Star Olympic bronze medalist, recently the 2020 MVP in the Israeli Championships. We've covered Amar'e over the past couple weeks, and we just want to highlight his continued success again and celebrate, of course, this entrepreneur who has a farm, who has a fashion line, has a series of children's books, and now is contributing back to the athletic community with Masa, right? You don't have to be a pro athlete to appreciate the benefits for your active lifestyle. And a portion of the proceeds actually goes to the Amar'e Stoudemire Foundation, which helps at-risk youth and gives them educational opportunities for better financial literacy, which we all need and can definitely appreciate. There's some perks, of course, involved with this Amar'e and Masa collagen. You buy Masa and a package comes with a limited edition Stoudemire hoodie. Jonny Vegas, have you seen this Stoudemire hoodie?
It's a great hoodie.
It's a great hoodie. Of course, there's like all these trends with giant hoodies right now. And what better hoodie to rock than an Amar'e hoodie, by the way. You can also get a one-on-one game of NBA 2K. With Amar'e, you can duke it out with a virtual round of boxing with Amar'e at Rumble Gym. And you can even have dinner with Amar'e in New York, prepared by his personal chef, which would be incredible. New York is one of my favorite cities in the world, and I can't imagine what a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that would be as a fan to actually have dinner with Amar'e in New York. I mean, come on. Talk about incredible journey. The best of the best is this trip to Israel with Amar'e, and he's going to take you through a tour of the holy sites through his eyes. I mean, how incredible would that be? Have you ever been to Israel, Jonny?
Yeah, I actually went there in 2013 to try out for Israel's national lacrosse team. And then I went there in 2018 to cover the World Lacrosse Championships. That was held in Netanya, Israel. It was awesome.
Well, I've never been, but my eyes are on this exclusive perk available at Fanvestor. So, Amar'e fans, we really encourage you to go to fanvestor.com to shop Masa Collagen and get included in one of these one-of-a-kind, very unique experiences with Amar'e himself. But if basketball's not your vibe, there's super dope Q. That's right. #HairDope is available on fanvestor.com. It's a hair color brand including hair brighteners, pre-shampoos, hair juice, hair sauce, which is a temporary wax, and it was released by Super Dope Q. You might remember him from Atlanta's Black Ink. I mean, he is an incredible celebrity stylist. And now you have access to a little bit of his STYLE, and you can rock some of your own hair color as, well, a fashion accessory, really. And it's also considered self-care, right? So hair nourishing ingredients, olive oil, shea butter, argan oil, keratin, and all the good things, cruelty-free, ammonia-free, free of salt, free of parabens, and water-based. So in my opinion, that's dope. Couldn't help the pun. See what I did there, Jonny Vegas? Yeah. And there's some exclusive experiences and perks involved, of course, on Fanvestor. You can shop the full Hair Dope set with a limited edition Super Dope Q hoodie. That's right, add it to your Amar'e hoodie collection, or you can get your Fanvestor hoodie as well. I mean, my closet's filling up, right? You can shop Q's closet as well and pick out an item from his closet you want, or mine with all my hoodies, and a personal styling session on Zoom Best of the Best, personal style session and makeover by Q in Atlanta, or take a trip to Black Ink Studio in Atlanta to get matching tattoos with your boo or your bestie. That's right, Super Dope will be there. Maybe he'll even draw it for you. I mean, I don't know. The world is our oyster. But now you can experience these incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunities with Super Dope Q and with Amari on Fanvestor.com. Such a unique, super cool experience for you to be able to get in on it. You know, celebrities have been launching their own businesses and brands for decades, but now this is really, really on fire, and it's such a cool time to be able to really be a part of it. Anyway, coming up next, we have an incredibly inspiring interview with a world-renowned author, athlete, entrepreneur, scholar, Amanda Russell. Stay tuned.
We will be right back after this message from our sponsors.
Hey, super fans, be sure to check out this week's episode of Everything Hollywood, featuring Larry Namer and Omar Akram and special guest Ken Davidian from BoRap. Welcome back to the Fanvestor Report. I'm your host, Jezlan Moyet, and I am so excited to have world-renowned scholar, athlete, entrepreneur, and author Amanda Russell with us today. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Hi, Jezlan. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. It's been such an amazing journey for you to witness this from both me as a fan and fellow fempreneur. I'm continually inspired by you, by your resilience, by your drive, by your motivation, and of course, your success. So what is your little bit of magic? How do you do it all?
Well, first, thank you very much. I'm not very comfortable with accepting compliments, and I would say vice versa to you. And to clarify, I definitely don't do it all. That's probably the key thing. If I could do it all, then I'd be in probably a different space. But I think in terms of my ability to keep going and keep the next thing, it's actually it's a blessing and a curse. In that I call it the grass is ocean, and that is that my mind is constantly never satisfied with, no matter what it is, where I am, I will never be there. And I think actually last week a new colleague that I met asked me what my end game was with everything, and it occurred to me that there is no end. There is no end game for me. It's always going to be what's next, and I enjoy the chase. I enjoy the path of most resistance. It's like if I compare it to dating, it would be like those people that just don't want the relationship; they just want the chase, and that's I think how I am in life. It's become, it can be damaging in personal relationships, but in a career, you want me on your team, because I will figure out a way to get it done and go to the next tier. What's the Olympics of this industry?
Well, it's so interesting you compare it to the chase, right? The finish line for you. We know that you were a very successful athlete and had qualified for the Olympics. Take us back there and maybe share with us some of the qualities and experiences you learned as an athlete that led to your experience as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. You of all people know a little bit more about that than most. And we're actually doing a documentary on exactly this thing and the translation between it right now, myself alongside Molly Bloom from Molly's Game. So we share that in common, this idea of translating an athletic career that requires a certain level of crazy in the head to get to that point, and how, when your career is cut short the way that mine was, the way that hers was. I think a lot of people watch that movie Molly's Game, so you can kind of resonate after seeing what happened to her. She went to Vegas and became the queen of poker. But I think it's a common trait in a lot of female athletes. Actually, if you look at there's been studies shown that over 94% of female C-suite executives at the major Fortune 500 companies have all been serious athletes. And there's a brain chemistry difference in that it's again, it's the same thing. We joke about it all the time. We're like, yeah, the gift that people are like, you're disciplined, you're driven. And we're like, yeah, and OCD and addictive, all at the same time. So I think for me, that was when my career came to an end at that, when you think that's what your journey is and then it changes, the it doesn't change. The whatever you're driving for or chasing or running for that intrinsic fire doesn't change. And I think one of the biggest things that always comes to mind is that all I ever think about when I get, turned down, and you get turned down 9 times out of 10 when you try for things, right? And people never see that part is that I don't want my story to end this way. I don't want my story to end here. How do I keep writing it so that it doesn't end where I don't want it to end? And that's kind of been my theme through life. And I think everybody can see themes. And for me, that's really what it's been, is how do I prove them wrong?
Well, you've proven them wrong time and time again. I mean, you became one of the OG top influencers on YouTube. In over 2 months, over 1 million views in 2 months?
It's funny. We were joking about this yesterday in an interview with Ann Hadley about, at that time, YouTube was very new. So when I look at numbers, I think it was like 2 million views in 2 months or whatever it was. And people now are like, we get that, 4 hours. And I say, maybe I should edit that out because it's really not a braggable point anymore. But at that time, when YouTube was in its infancy, most people didn't even know about YouTube, and if they did, they didn't know how that it was something you subscribed to. You just watched it. So, my YouTube channel was a business school project, and it became one of the fastest growing channels on the platform in the fitness space. And it taught me a lot about growing an audience, what it takes to grow an audience, and the value of being able to do that without capital.
And then building a business on top of that audience.
Building a business.
That
was really the main takeaway, is, anytime you're on a platform, you don't own the platform. So if you want to create a business out of it, you need to figure out what it is that you're going to monetize that you have control over. Because if your whole business model is that you're going to be on Instagram or YouTube and one of those shuts down tomorrow or changes an algorithm, your business is over. So that's a pretty risky gamble to take.
Well, and how many millions of influencers or micro-influencers are making that exact gamble now? But celebrities like yourself have wised up, and they're also launching their brands as businesses, right? Or NFTs for that matter. What's your take on the current evolution of that?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think the term, I'm definitely not a celebrity in any way, not even in the micro, not even in the C- C category. But thank you for the almost equation. But in terms of the term, I think that you have to start at what is an influencer, and just because you're on a social platform with a following does not mean you're influential. Does it mean you're popular? Yeah, maybe. Does it mean you have a lot of attention? Yes. Size of an audience? Yes. But size of one's audience does not equal influence. Celebrity does not equal influence. Could you be famous and influential? Absolutely. We've seen that in several different occasions, but the two are not equated. They're not synonyms for each other. And so I think the evolution of what social media and the internet has done for us is we're going to see more content creators, which is what I prefer to call them, as brands in themselves or co-creators in brands. So when brands are I think we're going to reverse it where the brands were really the control and they would poach these content creators. And I think we're going to start to see it shift where content creators are the ones with the dialed in audiences are the ones with the attention and the trust. And so they're like, why just get a transactional deal with you? Let's create our own brand. So the really smart brands, what they need to do is they need to go after these and they create these real partnerships in which let's co-create a brand. Let's be the machine behind your community, because we can have the best product or service or idea in the world, but if we don't have a community that buys in, we're just a commodity, and we're just going to be competing on price till the end, until there's no profit margin.
Well, I think it was on your Instagram that I saw that collaboration was one of the greatest keys to success.
100%. There's nothing that I believe in more than partnerships, especially not just between a content creator and a brand. I'm talking like brands upon brands, companies coming together, different, rather than a competitive brand, complementary, but women need to do this a lot more. And I'm not specifically, men. I don't like to be the men versus women thing at all. Men have been more supportive in my career than any women. And the reason I say this is because I think there's so much talk of this term, women empowerment, and we're the least empowering to each other. We're the least to open a door or give a stage to someone else. And you, Jezlan, you probably can resonate with this, I'm sure, in a lot of ways, but the younger, the prettier, the whatever, it seems to have a different effect, and it just makes me crazy. And I will give you an example of one of the most inspiring stories that's changed the way that I've thought, kind of put into words what I've always thought. And her name is Katia Bossi, and Katia is the CMO of Lamborghini. And she was formerly with Ferrari and has had a long history, originally with Aston Martin, has had a long history in car companies, and at a very high level, and was the first ever female CMO of a brand like that. And what she decided to do was, she said, men support each other all the time and collaborate to scale. And women collaborate for what's going to get them to the next rung. And so I see the potential. Lamborghini itself, my name doesn't open a door, but the name Lamborghini opens doors. And I see what I can do with it to scale myself. What if I were to give this brand platform to other women, up and coming leaders, and what they could do with a brand name behind them like that? And that's what she did. She created a board of women that she believed had potential, that could benefit from the use of the brand as the influencer. So I think, and that's a big part of my mission. I'm developing a program right now to really bring in more industry thought leaders, into people doing real practice into business school and into academia. And, yes, I want the big names, but I also want the people that have the hustle and the potential to give them a stage to thank all the people that have given me a stage as well.
Which is an incredible opportunity. And now fans have the opportunity to get in on that, if you will, which is the whole platform and premise with Fanvestor, right? Now having a stage like that, giving the opportunity to a fan to invest in that journey. What would make that something that you would think is more trustworthy or successful? How do these brands really connect to their fans in order to get that investment, whether it's with, their finances or just their time and their heart and continued support?
Yeah. What better way for a brand to get audience buy-in than rather than trying to win the audience, figure out who's got that audience that already has their trust. And those are those people on those platforms. And that's why I think, Fanvestor and I didn't realize what it did until I looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, it's brilliant. Because not only do they have that audience, but the community within a lot of these influencers, content creators, have the capital. And when they love someone, they trust somebody, they want to invest in their success. So why not, why not, raise all the ships, right? Like I get benefit out of it, you get benefit out of it. We elevate together. So I think it is just an incredible concept, and it's almost a sort of Kickstarter as well, or a GoFundMe in another way.
It's Start Engine meets E-Entertainment.
There you go.
Taken right off the website. So what's next for you, Amanda?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm in the midst of really, I'm in completely underwater with building out the infrastructure and the production of the program that's launching this fall. It'll launch at Northwestern Business School as the newest innovative influencer marketing MBA program. But Kellogg, which is the business school, takes the title because they are number one in the world for marketing. But it will then be licensed globally, so that people from all schools can take it. But it will be housed under our investors are Northwestern. So
what does that feel like for you to not only have built these successful businesses, sold them, but now have the opportunity to teach and empower other young entrepreneurs to do the same? That must be so rewarding.
It is extremely rewarding, and it's also an incredible way to keep learning and to keep growing. I definitely learn more from them, I think, than they do from me. And not just on the course specifics, but on human nature and the different kinds of people there are and how people learn, and how you can have the same individual and you give them information in a couple different ways, and it can be the difference between success and failure, between going after it or giving up. And I love how I love that, and I think it's a study in human psychology, to be honest, as well. And you just keep getting better and kind of learning, failing forward too. But very excited about that.
That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur, is to fail forward, fail fast, pivot quick, and keep going.
Yes.
There's no time to sit and wait on the could've, would've, should'ves.
You've really been that. You are a great you are an incredible example of someone that knows how to go after it, get it done, and just always hustling and coming through, and not afraid to do the work.
Well, thank you for that, Amanda. I really do appreciate it. Please remind everyone where they continue to find, follow, support you, and of course, get your book.
Yes, thank you. So my book is called The Influencer Code. You can find me on theinfluencercode.com. I also have a podcast, which Jezlan will be on in the future, called The School of Influence, with marketing legacy Neil Schaefer. So I would say The Influencer Code leads you to my website, which is just amandarussell.co.
Well, thank you very much, Amanda. We appreciate you. Stay well.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on fanvestor.com. Welcome back to the Fanvestor Report. That was an incredibly inspiring interview and journey shared by Amanda Russell about her journey from being an athlete to an entrepreneur. So in the news, of course, Aaron Rodgers, hot topic, especially for Packers fans. So we'll have an interview coming up in just a few minutes, but let's talk about Aaron Rodgers, the player himself, right? He's a boy from Southern California, born in Chico, 1983. Attended the University of California, Berkeley. Shout out to all the Berkeley fans. And then he became an NFL all-time great. In fact, for many years, I know my dad, being a Packers fan, Aaron Rodgers was the only NFL player's name mentioned ever in our house. Well, now he's mentioned in every household in America right now because of being a free agent and all of the drama, but also the great work he's doing as an entrepreneur. He was drafted to Green Bay, the Packers, in 2005, three-time NFL MVP, nine-time Pro Bowler, one of 6 players of all time to win the award 3 times. And of course, there was that 2011 Super Bowl MVP, NBD. Notable endorsements, sponsorships include State Farm, Pizza Hut, yes, we all love stuffed crust, Adidas, the list goes on and on. He is so much bigger than football. He is so much bigger than the Packers. He has made a true impact as a philanthropist and as an entrepreneur. Charities he's involved in, right? Best Buddies International, Boys and Girls Club of America, Breeze Dream, Cats Care, Cotton Pound Foundation, Entertainment Industry Foundation, Feeding America. I mean, this list gets longer. James R. Jordan Foundation, Jimmy Fund, Kaboom, Keep Memory Alive, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Nevada Cancer, Opportunity Village, Payback Foundation. I'm saying all of these because this man, this MVP, has found time in his life to give back to so many incredible foundations. I mean, he really makes an impact on and off the field. I find it super inspiring. Of course, his recent donation of $500,000 to the Barstool Sports Fund was nothing short of just pure kindness and generosity, right? I mean, he got to actually make the announcement to the owners of one of the local bars in Green Bay, really is entrenched in his community. Of course, there's investing in sports. In 2017, Rodgers invested in the Milwaukee Bucks. He actually owns 1% of the franchise. We don't know exactly how much he paid or how much that's worth, but we do know that the Bucks were purchased for $550 million in 2004. Okay, so that's up to you fans to do the math, but that's a lot of money. Speaking of money, Aaron Rodgers, of course, founded his own venture capital fund. So in 2019, Rodgers launched a $50 million venture capital fund with Roth Capital, Byron Roth, with RX3, and I quote Aaron Rodgers himself, "I saw the opportunity to create an investment platform that brings together a group of like-minded influential investors and their respective networks with the backing of institutional resources." Okay, this is key, and this is all about what's happening in the world of investing in celebrity entrepreneurship. Being able to partner with traditional capital and then being backed by fans. I mean, hello, Fanvestor, that's exactly what we're doing here. But with him are celebrities like Danica Patrick, Ryan Sheckler, Desmond Howard, 10 plus more NFL quarterbacks. I mean, they're really being able to make a difference, to make an impact with some of the traditional backing of venture capital. Notable investments, include Hydro, VICIS, and much, much more. But with all of the heat surrounding Aaron Rodgers, I was wondering, how does it affect the fans' heart and mind and thoughts, and how they would invest in Aaron Rodgers? Well, with all the heat and all the attention surrounding Aaron Rodgers, I wanted to interview one of Aaron's biggest fans on his take on investing on and off the field in Aaron Rodgers. Welcome back to the Fanvestor Report. I'm your host, Jezlan Moyet, and we are talking Aaron Rodgers today. So who better than super fan Alex Marino? That's right, Lambo Leapers at Instagram. Hey, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk with you here.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about you and what makes you the expert in all things Packers and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, so I have my Instagram page. It's approaching 60,000 followers, and I've had it for, I believe, over 6 years now, so it's been a long time. February of 2015 was when I started, and since then it's just been like a slow build, just kind of, it all started from just my fandom of the team, and then it kind of just grew as, more people started following, and the more followers you have, the more likes, the more comments, and the more followers you get as a result. So I feel like I'm definitely one of the voices of Packers fandom, especially on Instagram. So I definitely take pride in that.
What makes you, though, a fan of Aaron Rodgers? What about him, his character, do you most appreciate?
Him specifically, I mean, he is so unique as an individual. He is one of the, every room he walks into, he's the smartest man in the room. And that's one of the things that makes him the greatest quarterback on the planet. I mean, he takes his smarts that he has in real life, he takes that onto the football field, and just, he's always something special when he goes out there.
Let's
he's
talk
just
about
one
Aaron
of those
Rodgers
guys.
Off the football field, though.
Right, yeah.
Aaron
Off the
Rodgers,
football field, yeah, he's certainly, as a businessman in particular, he's one of those guys that is very thorough with what he's looking at, whether it's an investment or an endorsement. He's not just going to, follow the money wherever it goes. He's one of those guys that really wants to care about, he wants to hear the story of the business. He wants to hear, the plan, the future. He's not going to just, take whatever money his agent says is lined up for him. He really cares about what's behind every business. The people involved is probably the most important thing to him. He really cares about the relationships between people and also the story behind the businesses, and that's why he's, one of the great people in the NFL, and that's why he's making so much money, frankly.
Well, and that's all proof of his most recent investment with Barstool Sports, $500,000 to support local small businesses. How great is that? He truly does make an impact. There's been a lot of heat surrounding he and the Packers. What's your take on that?
Definitely, I will touch on the $500,000 to Barstool, as well as the work he's done with the North Valley Community Fund to help local businesses in Northern California, where he grew up. He's doing great work, and that's just, that's not just investments. He's really using his money and investing it into people and helping them get back on their feet and small businesses, and he's doing great work there. But with the situation, regarding the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, a lot is unknown, and that's the key thing. In most cases where you have drama between players and teams, a lot of it is known. But all of it here is just speculation. And I can tell you that Aaron Rodgers did not want any of all this information to get out. The Packers didn't want any of this to get out. And I have a feeling that he's really trying to not only, use his leverage of how he played this season to be the MVP in his favor in negotiations with the team. I believe he wants to stay in Green Bay, ideally. But if they're not going to give him the things he wants, the respect he deserves, things of that nature, I do think that he might consider that his long-term future might not be in Green Bay, but I think all Packers fans are hoping that that's not the case.
So how does that affect you as a super fan, right? President of one of his biggest fan clubs, and your investment with your time, your heart, and potentially your own finances in future Aaron Rodgers-led businesses as an athlete or as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's definitely something where the tides of fans, are kind of, they're treading water with his, situation, because he is, if he leaves your favorite team, it might make you not want to, support him as much, especially in some of his business endeavors. But for me personally, I understand where Rodgers is coming from in most of this situation. He deserves to be treated better with a lot of the things that are going on. And I'm a supporter all the way. Wherever he goes, I'll still support him, and he'll be a Packer for life in the history books. And one day, whether he stays in Green Bay forever or he eventually leaves, he'll come back one day and he'll go into the Hall of Fame, and he'll be remembered for everything he did in Green Bay. So, I think for most true Packer fans, including myself, I don't think anything will waver in terms of us supporting the man that he is, especially some of the business things that he does. I think, all his real fans will stay true to him there.
Now, moving forward in the future, what businesses do you hope Aaron Rodgers does invest in, especially with his venture capital company, that maybe you could be a part of?
Wow, that's kind of a tough question. I mean, I'd love to see him he's super involved with his with what he does in his own community, Northern California, a lot of things there. I'd love to see him get more involved closer to his other home in Green Bay. He does have a lot of things going on, but I'd love to see him get involved, whether it's different restaurants locally in Green Bay, or specifically, just staying close to home with some of the business ventures. I'd love to, obviously be a part of that as well. So that would be something special for sure.
Well, you heard it here on Fanvestor, Aaron Rodgers. We want you in Green Bay, and we want you to invest there. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for joining us today. Please remind everyone where they can find, follow, and support you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. You can follow me on Instagram at lambo.leapers. Make sure to follow me there. You can also find our podcast called Today in Titletown on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Well, thanks again, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more at Fanvestor. Welcome back to the Fanvestor Report. What an incredible interview with superfan Alex Marino and his take on investing in heart with Aaron Rodgers. Of course, special thanks to our guest Amanda Russell for sharing her inspiring journey from athlete to entrepreneur. And don't forget, all you fans, to get your Stoudemire hoodie, your super dope Q hoodie, and of course, Masa and Hair Dope at fanvestor.com. Thanks again, and stay tuned. Check out our socials at Fanvestor. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
You can see past editions of the Fanvestor Report on our YouTube channel. Make sure you catch them all.